So this is a live reaction to this. I just saw this video via Instagram. So you have I guess this is a single mother by choice. I don't know what she does in terms of making money. I don't know what her profession is. I'd even check out her page, but apparently she's going to address the men in her comments, um, in her comment section that are shaming her for being a single mother. They probably just found that out that she is a single mother. I don't know who this woman is, but the caption you see here, it says this video is for all the men that call me a single mom and mean it as an insult. So let's take a listen to what she has to say while pouring hot sauce on her. This is crazy. This is almost like, say if like somebody said something about a man and he was black, like him not raising his kid or something like that, or him being lazy, whatever, and then him to respond back by like while eating like chicken and putting hot sauce on it. Anyway, let's let it play. Let's let it play.
That's for all of the men that call me a single mom and mean it as an insult. So if you're normal, keep scrolling. You want to know what's interesting? In 1973, women weren't allowed to open their own bank account, have a mortgage, nothing by themselves. So a lot of women stayed in those relationships and got married because then they could get a house, they could have access to a bank account, etc., etc. Now we're in 2024. I have my own bank account. I can have my own mortgage, right? Well, imagine being alone and raising a child and taking care of all of those things by myself is easier than being in a shitty relationship. I know. It's easier for me. So every single time you call me a single mom and you think it's an insult, I want you to know that it was actually your mom's greatest desire. But they didn't have that right in 1973. So this video is for all of the men that call me a single.
Let's say if you're right. Let's say if it's easier for you. This is why. Okay, let me sum up because I didn't want to go on a rant. Let's say if it's easier for you, but is it easier for the kid that you have? This is the problem with women. It's just them, me, I. Okay, what if you're right? Say if in opposite land you're right, because I don't believe it is easier for you, and it's definitely not easier for most women by percentage wise. It's not going to be easier for most women because being a single mom is literally like shooting yourself in the foot. But have at it. Say if it is, you're one of the rare ones. It's easier for you, but is it easier for your kid? Now, I'm going to address something though, that she did say something that I low key agree with, and I hope men pay attention to this. I hope men pay attention because I'm going to replay a certain part. And I'm going to see if you caught it. It was she said it at the end. She said it at the end. So I'm going to replay this and I'm going to dissect a couple things, but there's going to be something very important that I'm going to highlight.
Single mom and mean it as an insult. So if you're normal, keep scrolling. You want to know what's interesting?
But yeah, it is like in terms of to be a single mother, it's almost, if there was one thing I can tell a woman or a girl that I know, I'm not in the business of telling women what to do. That's not what I mean. But I will say this: if a woman were to ask me, what's one of the biggest advice that you could give me in terms of my life, I would always say this for me. If I was advising a woman in terms of if you say give me one advice, I would say do not be a single mother. That is one of it's literally to be a single mother. You're shooting yourself. That's literally to shoot yourself in the foot. And on top of that, that's literally like shooting your kids at the kneecaps and then them having to recover without physical therapy. Some are going to make it. Most are not going to make it. We see that the stats are pretty clear. And first of all, the results are very clear on what happens when most men, particularly men and women, but when you see what happens to boys and girls that are raised in a single mother household. And I don't want to hear people talk about single parents. We know it's single moms. It's single moms. So we already know the results of single mother households. So somebody right here said children raised by a single mother are 20 times more likely to be incarcerated, addicted to drugs, and live below the poverty line. Children need a father. This isn't a flex. Period. These are facts. And it's not, and like I said, it's not about you. If you're a mom, it's not about you. It's your kid. She says it's easier for me, but what about your kid? Is it easier for your kid? Probably not. Let's continue to play.
1973, women weren't allowed to open their own bank account, have a mortgage, nothing by themselves. So a lot of women stayed in those relationships and got married.
I'm gonna need a fact check for that because people they're always talking about women couldn't own certain things, but that's not true. They just couldn't. They couldn't do it without a husband. like there's like I remember people were bringing up stuff that women couldn't do in the early 1900s, and actually when you look it up, they could do it. They just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it without a husband. Now people might say that's wrong, but you know, I just want to let you know, if you're a single man and you're not married, there are many jobs that will not promote you if you're not married or if you don't have kids. Like if you're married and you don't have kids, but specifically if you're not married, there are certain jobs they will not give to you as a man if you're not married. It's like it's not. I'm not gonna say it's an unwritten thing, but there are. I'm talking about many jobs that men cannot get if they're not married. Really, I'm talking about high, prominent, paying jobs that they cannot get. So that's a whole nother discussion that we can have. But a lot of the stuff that she's talking about, can't own this and can't own that. Actually, women could. They just couldn't do it without a husband, which I don't see nothing wrong with that. And people might think that's wrong of me to say. But like I said, there are many jobs, even to this day, if you are a single man, they will not give it to you. Because as a single man, you have literally all the leverage. You're not tied down. They will rather give certain promotions and jobs to married men particularly married men, and if they have kids, because he has something tying them down. It's leverage for the company. You know what I mean?
Married because then they could get a house, they could have access to a bank account, et cetera, et cetera. Now we're in 2024. I have my own bank account. I can have my own mortgage, right?
So everything that she's talking about is me, what I can do. But what about the kid?
Imagine being alone and raising a child and taking care of all of those things by myself is easier than being in a shitty relationship. I know.
So what does that? But notice how she doesn't even address what the kid feels. Notice that. It's crazy how that works.
I know. It's easier for me. So every single time you call me a single mom and you think it's an insult, I want you to know that it was actually your mom's greatest desire.
Now that part, I will say this. Now that women have the opportunity to do this, look how many women, now that they have the opportunity to separate kids from their fathers, look how many women take that opportunity. So what she said at the end, you might think it's mean or cold-blooded, but she might be right, because people always want to say, oh, the women in the past, they did this, they were good. That's because we actually had laws and rules where women couldn't do that, where they couldn't just separate kids. People could talk about feminism caused this, and we could use all types of scapegoats about the government doing this and the feminists doing that. But at the end of the day, women are choosing this. They're choosing this route. They're choosing to become single mothers. People always say, oh, but we got to get the laws changed back so the women will look. People wonder why, oh man, if World War III comes and then they're going to be crawling back to, no. What's going to happen is if they change the laws back to what it was, there would just be no single mothers. And people think that women would just be out there by themselves. No, they would just turn back to being submissive housewives, cooking and cleaning and doing all that stuff. That's what they would do. There would be no single mothers. So like I said, it's the laws. So now that the laws give women that choice, most women are opting out. So now men really have to really start looking back in the days and be like, did my mom really? Because now that we see what women do in terms of whether or not they want to keep a kid, one day they don't want a kid, and then the next day they have an ultrasound talking about God knew I needed you and all this bullshit, right? Look at now. When women have the options, look at what they're opting to do when they're younger. Look at what they want to do. So it really has called into question, are women really nurturing? Has that always been a myth? Were our moms of the past, were they actually good people, or were they just doing what they could do because they were constrained by quote unquote patriarchy, quote unquote society? Is this life that you see the single mothers quote unquote bragging about? Is this something that most women wanted? These are the tough questions that we have to ask. So all this stuff when we're talking about, when we're saying, man, our grandparents did this and blah blah blah. Did your grandmother really want to do this? And my proof of that is what people don't understand. People talk about how Gen Z women and millennial women are acting, but particularly Gen Z women. People don't understand most of the advice that they got in terms of living their best life and their being a 304 they got that advice. Most of them got their advice from their mothers and their grandmothers, the ones that men like to lift up in the air, like, you see, these women in the past, they did it the right way, but really, they never wanted to do this. Like I said, I think there's a lot of women that don't love kids. I think people might get mad at me when I say I believe most women don't like kids. First of all, most women don't even want kids. But I believe most women don't love their I'm talking about their own kids. I believe most women don't love their kids. Because now that they have the opportunity, even though it's clear that if you want your kid to be successful, the father has to be there. He has to be there. But look what they don't care. They just don't care. They don't care. Because even when men had the opportunities and choices, they still would. There wasn't that many deadbeat dads, not that many, but even then, the laws are there because men wanted to actually protect women from being abandoned from quote unquote deadbeat dudes. So it just shows men actually are the nurturers. Women are not nurturers. They're just, all they really care about is money and attention. Now, people might disagree with me on that, but now that women have the option, look at what they're opting to do. So look, people might disagree with what she said at the end in terms of, oh, she's low key because she's seeing those comments about her being a single mom and she's seething inside. And what did Shannon Sharp say? He said like 3 types of people will tell you the truth. He said like a drunk man, kids, and somebody that's angry. So she's seething about those comments right now. So she's low key giving you a red pill at the end. Amongst the single mama jabber about back then we couldn't own our rights, we couldn't take a shit by ourselves and all this. You gotta filter past that. But at the end of what she said, that's interesting.
But they didn't have that right in 1973. So this video is for all of the men that call me a single mom.
So we're gonna let it play again, but we're gonna pause at that part at what she said at the end
and mean it as an insult. So if you're normal, keep scrolling. You want to know what's interesting? In 1973, women weren't allowed to open their own bank account, have a mortgage, nothing by themselves. So a lot of women stayed in those relationships and got married because then they could get a house, they could have access to a bank account, etc., etc. Now we're in 2024. I have my own bank account. I can have my own mortgage, right? Well, imagine being alone and raising a child and taking care of all of those things by myself is easier.
Now, I'm going to have to investigate how you are taking care of the kids by yourselves, because a lot of the times they'll say that they're doing it by themselves, but then then you find out the custody agreement. Then you'll find out that she's not even really a single mom, that she's just a divorcee. And a divorcee is not a single mom. I thought it was co-parenting, but they want to still call themselves single mom. But that's another story. But then you find out that she's getting paid this amount in child support, and that she's scamming money on the side and doing all types of other stuff on the side that she can't put to the public. You know what I mean? So we'll do some investigating real quick.
Than being in a shitty relationship. I know. It's easier for me. So every single time.
It's easier for me, right? Like I said, I will say, maybe I won't say, nah, fuck that. I mean that shit. I believe most women don't care about their kids. They really don't. I don't know, because I grew up with, I used to hear female teachers literally say, I hate kids. But I'm like, but why are you a teacher, Dad? These are the people that are teaching your kids. You know what I mean? So you'll hear this, stuff, but then at the same time they'll say that women are nurturers. I'm like, I don't know about that. Certain women, yes, but in terms of women being natural nurturers, I disagree with that.
You call me a single mom and you think it's an insult. I want you to know that it was actually your mom's.
Yeah, so right there. So she's saying, us calling her a single mom, she's saying that it was actually your mother's greatest desire to do what she's doing right now. Now, I believe her. I believe, you know what? People might disagree with me, but I believe there are a lot of your mothers that fit under that mold that she's saying right there.
Greatest desire. But they didn't have that right in 1973. So
I believe she's not. I believe low key she's telling the truth on that, and that's something that men are gonna have to. They're men. You're gonna have to make some decisions after this. See, so video by Amber Henry, I guess, is that Her? Okay, that's her, right? Oh man. I gotta find out though who her is there a way to find out who her baby father is? So I'm on her page right now. Um, right. So this is oh, she's a half breed. So this is so she has a white mom, black dad. Oh man. She fell. So who knocked her up? So she's a half breed, but I'm looking at her kid. Does she have does she have a white baby father or a black baby father? Because that's also important as well. That's also important as well. Was her black father in her life? You know what I mean? So we gotta also look at that as well. This is all very important. This is all very important. Trust me. I probably don't have the time to actually do like an in-depth investigation on that though. Oh man, so I don't know what she is or what she does. What is her profession? Yeah, I can't really tell. I can't really tell. But she can. I'll say this: mom to Ivy and the social BFF. Is that her page? So I guess so. Maybe she has a YouTube that I don't know about, a popular YouTube channel that I don't know about.
Videos for all of the men that call.
So or is that? Oh no, that's just Delaney, the money coach. I see a different woman here. So yeah, that's just a different woman just reposting. Oh, she was just that was a different woman reposting that. So
Videos for all of the men that call.
so don't even so ignore that. Ignore the Delaney. That's not Delaney, the money coach. So Amber Henry. This is her official page. Okay, so what is it that what does she do then? What is her that for all we know, this bitch could still be living at home with her parents, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, because this is her mom in the background. This is her mom right here, and this is her with 2 kids. Yikes! Yikes! I gotta we'll do an in depth the social BFF all links. Okay, what do we have here? What do we have here? What do we have here? The social BFF supplements, self development books, Apple Podcasts. Does she have a YouTube? So how is she making money? Yeah, she needs help. She needs help. She needs help. Anyway, so I hope women aren't really listening to her, but they probably are. Oh
Videos
man.
for all of the men that call.
But yeah, I guess she was in the comments. She was seething. But yeah, she said it was actually your mom's greatest desire. I will say this: there's a lot of men that will not accept this truth. That there's a lot of men that won't accept that truth. That's a whole other discussion. That yeah, there's a lot of men they're not ready for that truth. Oh shit.